back to the land of dirty old cock meat and sacked out trucks that aren't really fit for the street. With a dog. What are you doing? Willard, I got a question for you. You'll never guess what it is. Are you stunned? He's a good stun dog. Best stunning dog in the whole wide world. He's stunned though. So out of this whole shop floor to sleep on, which is heated by the way, Willard will find the gear oil spots or whatever and he'll just lay in it. And you can definitely tell that by the way he looks. Willard, it's not a good spot to lay. You're stunned. Alright, so in the last video, I got the old Black Pearl running. She's running mint, just a sassy old rig. Just look at it.
Look at that, look at that.
I haven't done any body work to her, but she's been sitting pretty close to the healing bench over there, and well, things are happening. I think I can hear fenders popping out. But I do want to do some body work on this old hot rod. It ain't in the cards right now, so I'll tell you what is. So I watched this minty feller on the old lube tube, and he's tits out of 10. Him and I are actually BSing back and forth on the old Instagram messenger. Well, you've probably seen his stuff. He's got a sassy old Powerstroke diesel. Well, he's actually got two sassy old Powerstroke diesels, meow. He's got this fancy pants brand new one and the minty one that he had before, which is nicer than any truck I've ever owned. I don't know why he needs another one, but well, actually I know exactly why he needs another one, because you always need one more truck. My backyard is proof of that. But the feller's got a brand used Powerstroke fancy pants rig. It's got a lift kit. He done a sassy pants deck on it from this from a company down in America that does the mintiest decks you've ever did see. You got to go have a gander at this video. The deck that he did to this truck and the bumper he put on it, it's just mint, all the mint. So the name of the deck company is Bradford built, not Hillbilly built. I think if I had run one of their decks, a lot of this probably wouldn't happen. But I don't think they're cheap. I don't think you can build them with beer and inexperienced welding, but they're made there, so you know they're good. So this feller, he his first bird, he had and I'm guessing he has a sassy pants idea for the second bird, but his first bird has a this minty little log cabin he's built onto the back of it, and he's got her all strapped down, and the guy drives all over every country he can get into and gives her all away and goes camping, and well, he's pretty much camping for like months at a time in this thing. He damn near lives in it.
You know, I told you I borrowed the RV from a neighbor. It's mine. We live in it. And
him and his pretty old lady, they go driving around the countryside, and they're always having a few Powerstroke issues with this sassy old Ford. So I've been watching this guy, and I've been watching him struggle, and him and I were BSing back and forth, and let me tell you this for free. He is a 7.3 liter Powerstroke fanatic, because I've told him about 6,485 times that diesel conversion specialist that the guy has to talk to, and for that minty prick to put a 5.9 Cummins in there with the old P pump or VE pump. I mean, you ain't gonna have the problem with them things, but he doesn't want to do that. So I understand, I get it. I run a 7.3 Powerstroke all the time myself. Just feast your eyes on this dirty derelict garbage I got. Look at this. Check this out. My buddy Jaco, old mullet brake. We're working on the old Dodge picker truck. Jaco and I had a few issues there the other day, but we got it figured out. Jaco, what's the date today? April 11th? Yeah. Oh, it's December 13th. Is that diff still good?
Sure. I believe it's only slightly.
Man, the heat that thing's seen.
Yeah, but I mean, there's barely any heat on those caps.
Man, you gotta have a nipple truck. You gotta have a nipple truck to save your ass picker truck, and both of them are equally as Oh, it's sacking out the old military tires. I dropped a nut. Jaco, for some reason, all this looks brand new.
I know.
But
Really
is that? Oh!
I don't exactly understand.
What happened? But we're getting her dialed in. We're getting her dialed in. It just needs a little bit of love. If this thing did not have the picker on it and was in the sorry state of affairs that this Dodge was in when I got it, let me tell you, it would definitely be getting the old skidder treatment. Put some love into it. Had to put a whole new front diff in it because the front diff got so hot from the Newfoundlanders that owned it. It actually burnt the carrier bearings out so bad that the carrier wouldn't set inside the diff anymore. Jaco and I had to swap a whole new 60 in the front. We had to rebuild a bunch of stuff in the back. It might have been It might have been. I don't know who lit it on fire, but it might have been on fire.
The public system didn't do that. The government didn't do that, and the church didn't do that. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Is it your fault? That's your fault.
So old Jaco there dialed in the rear end of her, put in new wiring. We went to Two Bros Auto Wrecking there. Got a brand used door panel. Had to cut a little corner there, but she fit. She opens in here. It still smells really, 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 really bad of cat piss. And the dash is still in Tostitos mode. But other than that, this thing's a skookum shoot. Oh, the headliner. Oh, the cat piss stink. I gotta close the door. Oh, Willard. But we're working on her. Old Irene is good for the guy that leans, I tell you that. So yeah, I run this old Powerstroke. She's my pull rig. Oh, that's gonna be bad if that falls in the tire. That's fine, that's load security. But yeah, I run this old Powerstroke. She's a good unit. She does all the heavy towing around here because the feller needs some good towing. It does all the heavy lifting around here. Well, it does all the heavy lifting that needs to be done that's not here. And yeah, she's a good unit. So I do sympathize on the 7.3 Powerstroke. Other than this Powerstroke, I bought it like, oh, 10, 12 years ago, something. I don't even know. I'm stunned when it comes to numbers. But I bought this sassy old prick for 700 bucks a long time ago. But I do sympathize on the old Powerstroke debacle. So when these things don't run for you, it sucks. My tongue must be hung in the middle so it can waggle at both ends. You're saying cripple, get to the point. Well, here it comes. I'm getting to the point here. So a diesel is pretty basic, right? It's nothing like a woman, all right? To deal with an old diesel, you have to have a couple things. You gotta have air, you gotta have fuel, and you gotta have compression and timing somewhere inside of that. If you wanna know how timing works, call old Cutter Up Rob. He told me I'm stunned when it comes to timing, but well, I am stunned. He should know that. So when it comes to one of these minty mills, they're pretty easy to figure out. Oh, there's a blown up ZF5. You want to store your transmission jacks on top of sacked out old motors. That's how it works. But for one of these minty pricks, they're very, very, very basic. And that's why I went with this sassy pants mill in my truck, because it's basic like the guy driving it. If this thing leaves you stranded on the side of the road, it's very easy to figure out what's going on. Either the block is windowed, she ain't getting fuel, or the timing slipped. That's it. That's it.
That's it. That is it.
And these things just run. You give them fuel, they suck in the air through here, the bald eagles come out of here, and the horsepower comes out of there. That's it. These are the most basic as you get. So you got a skanky little lift pump, and it pulls fuel, puts fuel in here. This thing gets it all excited, puts fuel through here. It's as basic as the day is long. Well, these things, the timing will never slip on these, but those ones, the timing likes to slip on those ones if some stunned Newfoundlander put it together for you. But that's not what this feller's all about. He loves his Powerstroke diesels, and I don't blame him. They're mint. So as far as a Powerstroke goes, there's a lot more going on there. What for oil pressures and sensor this and cam that and IPR this and ICP this, and I don't sit the P because I drive a Ford. All right, so when it comes to these minty piles, these are a lot more complicated, and these are leaning a lot more towards a woman. There's a lot of electronics going on, and ECMs and emotions and sensors and delicate things that, well, hillbillies like me don't really understand, but we know how to kind of dink with them enough to get them to go down the road. Oh, there's a stinky old mouse living in here or something. Imagine that. So these are a lot more complicated. They got IPRs, ICPs, IP freelies, something like that. They got crank position sensor. They got Huey injectors. They got a high pressure oil pump, obviously a low pressure oil pump. They got glow plug relays. Oh, the newer Powerstrokes, this of the 7.3 flavor, they got a glow plug relay and a grid heater relay. There's all the things going on that's complicated, and it makes these things suck when they up. Because when these things do pile up on the side of the road, it sucks because you can't just see if it's getting fuel, see if the injector lines are putting out fuel, and figure out what's going on. So you really got to dig in deep as far as her emotions go. The emotions are controlled by the ECM and the injector driver. I don't know, are the injector driver or the fuel injection control module? I don't know. There's this thing right here, if it's not chooching, you'll have a bad time. If this stuff isn't chooching,
gonna have a bad time.
This guy isn't chooching. If the cam position sensor isn't doing what it's supposed to do, you'll have a bad time.
Gonna have a bad time.
There's a lot of elements here that can lead up to a bad time. Willard, are you stunned? Oh, he's having a good time. Oh, you got a piece of fender there. Is that a good piece of fender? It's a fender stick. So in this video, what I figured I'd do is I'd show him and all you minty pricks watching this on how this dirty old cripple keeps these things going down the road. Because lo and behold, these are mint old trucks. They're tough as hell, but they have their problems. So in order to do said things, I have a Powerstroke in the backyard that I haven't ran in forever. It's been sitting there. Usually I like to go somewhere else for these rejiving drives. You know, that's usually the way to do it because it's fun. And you know, the old lady can't yell at you while you're there. But I got a Powerstroke way over there. It's basically in the swamp right now that we got to go pull it out of the swamp. So we're gonna go and get that thing running. And then after we get it running, I'm gonna show you minty prick how this cripple goes about diagnosing something that just won't start on the side of the road. I've done it lots. It happens. Not on the nipple truck, but on other various Powerstrokes, especially the ones that I got sick and tired of dying on me, and I just threw a 5.9 in it. Away she goes. All right, well, much like any my videos, gonna require putting a whole lot of carbon into the air. Let's go get that done. How dare you! Look at the old Dodge deleter, ready to resurrect some other pile of fur out of the backyard. She'll go. Just a loyal old hot pile of mint. Oh yeah. How dare you!
She thinks my
Dodge deleter.
sexy. It really turns her on.
Why is it everything I have surrounded by tires? Oh, I mean, you can't leave it at the dump. That's a good tire. You don't need to worry about the bad truck cable you never put on yet. That's all good wooden stuff. I need all this stuff.
Oh my God, he's everywhere.
All right, so this is the Ford. Instead of walking through prickle bushes for 5 hours showing you guys, might as well just get her out of here. We're almost to the dump bee season here. So to get her up, gotta get her out of here. None of the windows are open, but it looks like a cat has been living in here. But it doesn't smell like cat piss, so that's good. Man, I don't know how long it's been since this old prick's run. I've had it for a while. This is right where the dump bees like to live in about a half a month from now. Old dump bee season. Here she is in all her glory. What a sweetheart. This is a really nice truck actually. A couple of fenders. I don't even think the cab's that badly rotted. I mean, it's a little bit bad and it definitely feels like old spray foam, but that's fine. But this old mint unit's in good shape. What a treat. All right, so my buddy old Kerosene Stream's always giving my crippled ass problems. He's saying, hey, why did your shop always look like a mud bog? Why even have a concrete floor if it always looked like a mud bog? Well, listen here, bud. We got 4 seasons around here. Winter, 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 and mud bog with dump bees and mosquitoes mixed into that. If you're gonna wrench on junk, it's always covered in mud. Like, look at these dualies. Anytime you ever see one of these trucks in the patch, they always do the old poop slide to the dually holes, and they shake like a diesel-fired dildo going down the road. It's the mud's the problem out here, but it's the way she goes. It's the land of fertile soil and quality condensate oil. But here she is in all her glory. I got this thing from the auction years ago. I think it's still got the RB sticker in it, but she was definitely a welding rig of the minty variety. Now she's a corn binder. Man, those are some quality doors. Whoever built this deck did not spare on the steel and on the painting. It's dialed together nice. All right, so on this side, it's pretty much the same thing. Got a toolbox, completely rotted out though. Check that out. Just sitting backwards. Nothing in it. The old Ultra Pro. What a treat. What do we got here? Oh, 5-pin. I always rip those off. Look at the drawers in here. Even the drawers weigh like 300 pounds. Look at that. Solid steel. This thing must weigh, oh, I'd say the deck alone weighs 2,000 pounds with all the iron welded up. Yeah, it's definitely a skookum future. You don't need to worry about fuel mileage. In the back here, I thought this was pretty cool. So I'm guessing Buddy had his future welder going this way. He had his reels in that door, and then back in here, but there's this chooch area here for all your accoutrement.
Accoutrement? What is that?
I don't even know what's in here. Another chooch cupboard. Not many people know this, but
You can put your weed in there.
oh, it's got a dump fire extinguisher on it. Oh, it's even charged for Fox Creek. What a treat. That's coming off of there.
That was a bad idea.
Yeah, that'd be nice, eh? Something's on fire and I'm standing here, fiddle this fire extinguisher off the roof.
This is called foreshadowing. Foreshadowing happens when clues in a story hint at future events.
What a treat. All right, so this is a bunch of cable I got a long time ago from this company that I bought some junk from and sold and bought and sold. And they had this gigantic spool of brand new cable for the old bed truck. Because, I mean, I might have broke a few cables on the old bed truck. Just haven't gotten around to putting her on yet. Give you the grand tour of the interior. Power windows, power locks. She's got the old high idle package. The interior is mint. Like, it's covered in cat hair, I think, or dog hair or something going on in here. It's really nice. This truck's fancy. Way too nice for this hillbilly. Behind the seat, you got the Sassy Pants extra speakers. Minty beer holder with the old garage door louvers. Oh, it even works mint still. Factory K-set. It actually smells fresh in here. It doesn't smell like dumpies or nothing. Yeah, I got this thing from the sale for a screaming good deal. I think it was like 2,500 bucks or something at the time. It was cheap. It was mint. All right, let's pop open the old ranch. I hope I didn't leave any good batteries in here. No batteries, mint. The front porch on this thing is just ideal. You can still get up there and you could stand on it to work on the old girl. Look at that. And you just lay your fat ass across the front like this and you could wrench on this thing all day long. Definitely got a lot of mice that have been pooping and living in here. Like all of it. It looks like it has a brand new IPR valve in there, which is a good thing. I remember when I got this truck, I was halfway home and it ran out of diesel. And it was like for Fox Creek. And lo and behold, it was the fuel tank selector valve. Imagine my surprise. So that was I had to bypass that. I can show you guys how to do that too. Well, it's got oil in it. Yeah, it's been a long time since this old girl chooch. You can tell by the cobwebs and the mouse. That's usually how you tell. So let's throw some batteries in it and see if we can't get her to fire. Oh, look at, oh man. Someone has, oh, look at the old ICP. So believe it or not, I didn't come out of my mother knowing everything there is to know about these old power smokes. So what I did over the years is I put this guy on the old toolbox. It's got all your sensors. So, you know, you got your engine oil temperature sensor, your injection control pressure sensor, your exhaust back pressure sensor, your IPR, intake air heater, camshaft position sensor, all this. So what I did is I just printed this off and threw it on the old toolbox just to remind a cripple as to exactly what was going on. But that was a long time ago. As you can see, this is pretty faded. Princess Auto's got a cripple hooked up big time. We're gonna go up on the old over the top. It's like a bottle of wine for old Mrs. Peg. Makes it handicap accessible. This thing was really mint until I ran it over with this excavator and bent the wheels all this. All right, so look at the wires that's going on here. Right out of the gate, this thing's already thunder. Look at that. It's not good. Oh, the wires are kind of half stuffed in there. So before we even try to get this thing to chooch, we're going to redo these wires and then we'll get her to go. We should probably stick a battery in it to make sure it ain't seized up. It's been sitting a long time. Now the hard part on trying to find a battery that's not completely chooched out. Always go with good battery connections on these old Fords. Redo everything. They need all the wall gas they can handle to get them to fire. They got to fire fuel injection dingle. They got to fire all the glow plugs. There's a lot of electricity going around. And then the starter gets all fat and sassy and it needs all of it. Make sure on these old Power Smoke, you got a fresh starter, a mint starter. The one on the nipple truck, before this video is over, I'm gonna go out and get the part number off of that guy. That's the only starter on a Power Smoke that I've ever had that will actually start it without the glow plugs. Now that's a lot. Now that's saying all of it, because these things, they need glow plugs to fire up even when it's kind of hot out. They need it. But that thing, the starter wheels it over so fast that it's kind of like pulling it behind bomb start, and it'll actually start without glow plugs. I wouldn't believe it until I seen it, but well, I got it and now I believe it. I think gives her. It's some gear reduction Remy starter I got off Amazon. You need one of those. Oh look, a hammer ratchet. All right, we're just gonna wheel it over here just to make sure she ain't locked up. All right, so this goes out to the old speller with the stabbing cabin on the back of his truck. This is what you gotta remember. You gotta get yourself a Leatherman Wave. These things will keep these Power Smokes running. But you just go over here and you can cross the big guy to the big guy, but it ends up overheating the shit out of the end of your Leatherman and it's a bad time. So you just go to this guy and she'll go, hopefully. Imagine that. A Ford with a Solenoid. No, now you gotta give it the old Moroccan dance. It's not having it for Fox Creek. Work. Oh, I told you guys the Moroccan dance thing would work. It always works. 50% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
So let's see here. That was a good smash to the old Bendix. But, so when you're cranking these old girls, if you're going to buy one of these, this goes out to anybody watching this, make sure when you crank them, they got an even crank. Now listen. So you hear that? It's going if it goes and you sound about as stunned as I am, well, what's happening there is that's one sacked out hole.
That's not all she said.
And when the starter's rolling it over, the compression's not very good on that one hole, and it gets a little excited while it's cranking it. So this thing here either sounds like it's evenly wore out or pretty mint. Mint, sounds good. All right, so what a cripple's gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and put a new pigtail on this guy, because this thing is sacked right out. That's a nightmare right there. All the wires inside are touching. You're not gonna want that. That's not good. I guess we're gonna find out if the mice have been eating in here. All right, so I'm into doing the wiring for that old ICP. And what I fellas gotta say is if you're driving one of these trucks down the road, you gotta have this in your glove box. If you don't have this in your glove box, you're gonna have a bad time. I like to keep a spare injector driver module or fuel injector control module or whatever the thing's called. I like to keep a spare one of them. I keep a spare ECM. More importantly, I keep a ICP in the glove box and a crank position sensor. I did order one of these sacked out old Chinesium Amazon ones. They had the whole thing on sale for like 80 bucks or something like that. It had the ICP, an IPR, and then there's also the crank position sensor it came with. These aren't really that great. I'm not a big fan of these things, what for all the China-ness in them.
You go over to China.
But chances are it'll get you home, and then you can go to Ford or International and buy yourself a brand new one. What for, well, they're junk. But yeah, so you got to carry this with you everywhere you go. It's like, it's more important than a spare tire. This is the most important thing to carry, the cam position sensor. That's important. That's number one. One of these is probably, well, this truck will run without this. If it's having a hard time starting and you around, just unplug it, and allegedly the truck's supposed to default back to 700 psi for the high pressure oil, and it's supposed to start. That's what I've been told. I've never had that problem before, but yeah, that's the way she goes. And then you got a spare IPR. So all this is a solenoid, a variable solenoid for your high pressure oil. So it's an oil pressure regulator, and it's regulated by this little doof on the back of her, and then the computer tells this thing how far to open, so the injectors get the right amount of oil pressure on top of the diesel pressure, to which then shoots it out the tailpipe, and then the fuel injection control module then fires the injector. There's a lot going on in these systems. They're a lot more complicated than they gotta be. Oh, and this thing just reeks of Chinesium. But this, if you ain't got money for the fancy pants, either go to the wrecker, a used good one, or go on Scamazon and spend the 60 bucks and be completely dissatisfied when it over on the side of the road. But this thing is so much China, they couldn't pick the right color wires. So the wires for that guy are definitely not the same color for this guy. All right, so how I like to do these is you gotta solder them. Solder's the only way to go with these things. I mean, you could do the old heat shrink butt connector. Those will give you a hard time. I like to just twist the wires like that up together, give you a little bit of staying power for soldering the thing, and then solder it. Make sure, for the love of sweet, put your shrink tube on there, give her a little solder action. You gotta burn your finger at least 10 times or else you're not soldering right. That's how that works. Here I am talking about how to do things proper while I wire up this Chinesium plug. It's all the China.
So don't tell me about China. I know China.
All of it. Slide the heat shrink over top and you're good to go. Yeah, you want to make sure you do a good job of dialing these in, because if you don't, you're going to have a bad time. All right, so not only were the wires on that all sacked out, but the wires on the back side of the oil temperature sensor, they're all sacked out. But I mean, what is sacked out? Look at how burnt that is. Can you guys see? the burning, that's fine. All right, so that's all heat strength. So Meow, what a cripple can do is fire it up. I'm gonna guess she fires up mint. So these fuel water separator dingles, this thing looks like it's got a brand new fuel pump in it, and the fuel pump in these things are just in a wonderful spot to get to. You just, the easiest spot a guy could ever ask for. And not only that, but the banjo bolt on the back side of them, the turbo pedestal here, you gotta get an 1.25" wrench down in there, and you get like a 1/16 of a turn to get that out of there. And then once you get the fuel pump out, well, in order to get the fuel pump out, it's good practice to pull the fuel water separator out and then put it all in one shoot. So the lines and everything, get her all dialed in and stick it in there. And you're lucky if the thing doesn't break off inside, because it's a pot aluminum housing for the fuel pump, and it's a cast iron engine, obviously, and they get into all kinds of fist fighting and fiddle around, and they corrode, and sometimes it snaps it off, and bad things happen. Don't be like me there, insemination station on wheels. You make sure you get all the dirt and dust out of here before you pull your fuel filter off. It's completely dry in there, dry as a bone. That might be bad, and it smells like really old diesel, like all the old diesel. And it's fine, this thing will fire right up. There's another thing that I found out with these old power smokes over years of doing it, is the fact that when you go to spray ether into them to get them to fire, the IDIs and the power smokes, they don't like to run off of ether like the Cummins or any other diesel would. I think the 6.2 and the 6.5 are also struggling for that. For some reason, they don't like to run on the starting fluid, the old Cosby sauce. So what you end up doing is spraying way too much in there and ether locking the out of it, and that's usually when you get problems with your engines. So these things, you got to have good fuel going to them and then give them a snort. They don't usually like to run off of just straight Cosby sauce. I found that out the hard way. The Powerstroke's a little bit better than the IDIs, but the IDIs are they're really bad for the Cosby sauce. You know when you see guys spraying them and they're just hogging her down the intake and it's doing the old well, that's bad. These things are pretty high compression, obviously, well, not compared to the IDI. So these things don't like to start and run on Cosby sauce like any old 5.9 Cummins, even the 5.5 liter there. It'll actually run off the sauce or the brake clean while you're cranking it. These don't like that as much. So that brings the old memory up to the old brain. When I was watching the feller's videos, he was struggling when he first bought the truck. So he first bought it, drove her off the lot. It was hits out of 10, right? So he's giving her, driving her, goes, shuts it off. I think he went camping for the night, goes to fire it back up the next morning, and she just won't start, right? Crank. So when that's happening, bud, what you're gonna want to listen for. So these 7.3 power smokes, they have a couple different kinds of cranking going on. You'll have the cranking to which there's no fuel getting sprayed into the holes, and it'll sound different than if there is fuel being sprayed into the holes. Because when these things are cranking, when they're getting fuel sprayed in, it'll be harder on the starter, being that it's still making some kind of a combustion in there. It's just sending straight smoke out the tailpipe. So the next time you're doing that, bud, what you're gonna wanna do, crank it until you see a little bit of smoke. So that's how you know you're getting fuel. If it's smoking, that means she ain't broken. Take your handy old Leatherman out here. Now this is your glow plug relay. Obviously you figured out the hard way as to what all this is. I watched a few of your videos. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and just bypass these. So I'm pretty sure that these always have power going to them on one side, and then the computer controls the ground. So you gotta remember that. That's an important thing to remember. But the next thing you wanna do is take the old Leatherman and then cross out the big terminals, and you should get some kind of a spark. So you see how she's sparking? So what that spark means is there's some glow plug somewhere doing something. If the bigger the spark, the more glow plug she has. So just remember that. So next time it won't start, instead of calling them nice fellers that come by and handed you the can of Cosby sauce, just come out here, run this for, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, bring your Leatherman then over here with the ignition on, and she'll fire right up. So remember that. I know you're deathly afraid of the old Cosby sauce. I mean, even though you spray the ever-living out of your old power smoke with it, it's fine. They like that. You know what they really don't like though? Is K&N air filters and those sticky dope cold airs on gravel roads. The old stock one with a brand new filter in it works just tickety-boo. Let's see if we can't crank these batteries to death. All right, what for these being the only good batteries that I got for this old hot rod, everything else I have is old Series 31s. We're just gonna crank this thing to it and give her all the way. Another good thing for you there, bud, or anybody that owns these power smokes, is have the old block heater going. Now the block heaters on these things, if they're functioning the way they should, it'll melt snow off the ranch cover for Fox Creek. Those things work better than good. Now the other thing you're gonna want to have is some kind of battery maintainer variety. Just get a good one, because if you get a bad one, your truck will go full Dodge and burn the down. So get a good one, rig that into the batteries, and then it'll always keep them nice and charged up for when you go to chooch on the things. Every time I get a video or something like that from a feller on the old instant scam, or from a Patreon message, or an email, or a sent link from the lube tube, these guys are cranking on these old girls saying they won't start, and the thing is just struggling to crank. It's got to have good batteries and a good starter. You have to have that with these old piles of. Well, I never have that, but you should have it, because you guys are daily driving a lot of these trucks, and they need that, all of it. All right, so this minty pile of old Ferd hasn't been running in forever, so she's obviously going to take a whole lot of cranking to get going, being that she's a mechanical lift pump in this old pile. So, well, let's go burn the starter out of the thing, shall we? All right, so instead of cranking the batteries and the starter out of this thing, a minty feller that sent me a message from the American military said that they use automatic transmission fluid for their dirty old deuce and a half for fuel supplementation for after they do a service on their truck. So I mean, if it's good enough for the best military in the whole world, it's good enough for my sacked out old Ferd. This thing is just dried right out. It needs a little ATF. Good for the injectors. Oh, she's gonna love this. So now the fuel bowl is definitely empty on this old girl, which leads me to believe that the fuel rails in the head are probably also bled back. I hope not. She is gurgling pretty hard though. Oh, look at all the poop floating to the top. Don't worry, all the poop comes up the center. Oh yeah, over the top. And that's just a delightful movie for the whole family. It's got everything in it to show you fellers as to what exactly is going on with these glow plug relays. Now these relays, or solenoids, or whatever you want to call them, they fail all the time. They're just junk. I'm gonna undo that with the old Leatherman here. I mean, why go back to the toolbox when you can just Leatherman it up? Oh, so the one with 2 wires coming out of her, how many sparks? All of it. That just means it's working good. So the wire with 2 wires coming out of her, that just goes down to each set of glow plugs, or 4 glow plugs for each side. So yellow and brown there. We're just gonna disconnect this guy. I'm gonna guess that the glow plug relay is probably still good. I was just gonna go back and show you as to how to start this thing if your glow plug relay has the bed. Well, hopefully it starts at all. Again, I don't even remember the last time it was running, so let's crank it. Oh, wipers work. So another thing you're gonna wanna look for is don't even pay attention to this light. This light means nothing. It stops running way after the glow plugs have stopped their cycle. The glow plugs will cycle for a long time. Watch your amp gauge. If your amp gauge is sitting around R, or I don't know where the it should be when you got the thing running glow plugs, that's bad. It should be around N or a little bit lower depending on how your batteries are, and you'll see as soon as that glow plug relay opens back up, it'll come back to about M or R or something like that. Just remember that. Let's see if this old girl cranks him in the cab. Oh, she cranks him in. So we're gonna crank the shit out of it until we get some smoke coming out of the pipe. Is it smoking yet? So we don't have no smoke yet. I don't smell no smoke. Probably some smoke coming out of the starter, but that's fine. Turn the key back on. Gotta give her a little more cranking. So now this old mill is gigantic, and it has to crank that tiny little fuel pump to pump fuel from the tank all the way up to here. So she's gonna have to crank a while. We're gonna let the old Leatherman sit this one out and substitute the old snap-off screwdriver. Crank. I have no idea how this thing gets fired up without glow plugs. There's no glow plugs. And there's no smoke. What the f? All right, it doesn't ever happen. This is the only 7.3 that I have that doesn't vomit out an ugly amount of smoke when she fires up. What the f? And it idles mint. All right, bud, this is a bad example of the truck to use, what for showing you what a Powerstroke to start like. This thing's been sitting for forever. Bit of a lumpy idle. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's down on one hole for sure. Does the high idle box still work? is that, come on, why you no chooch? It should chooch. Well, that thing doesn't work anymore, I guess. Oh well, I got a fix for that. What you gotta do here is just take your 338 Lapua Mag fast idle stick.
Well, it's a bit much, don't you think?
Shut up!
Maybe I'm wrong.
That you got from Bass Pro Shop, and just gently sit this in here, and it'll high idle it nicely. You're gonna want to use a 338 for this, so you just gently adjust her here. And there we go. Man, all right, now you got her high idling. Wonder if it's got any coolant in it. Oh yeah, coolant's still full. How's the blow by? There's definitely a missing hole. Yeah, definitely a missing hole. Look at that, no smoke. Like zero smoke coming out of it. There's no rat, nothing. This thing's pretty honky-tonkin'. Can you believe Bass Pro Shop Canada carries these fast idle sticks? Even in Frostbakistan, I mean, I thought these things weren't allowed. All right, yeah, this thing's definitely down a hole or something. Well, that's a good thing though, because we're gonna be able to show you guys how to figure that out. Now we gotta disengage the fast idle stick here. Be careful with this thing. Let's just say my boy ain't going to college. He's probably driving truck, so a guy can afford to get something like that. You don't need to worry about your fast idle stick. Is there anything on the ground under it? No, not leaking no oil. It sure is choochament though. But yeah, you see the flop she's got? Have a gander at that. She's got the dirty old lumpy idle. But don't worry.
I can fix that.
So I gotta show you Minty Pricks as to how unrealistic this is. This never happens. These 7.3 Power Smokes are always a smoky disaster. So let me show you how they usually go down. That's the old nipple truck. She's gonna show you how it's done. All right, well, before we go and start it, show you Minty Pricks, the best starter in the whole world for these Power Smokes. What's this number on her here? She's, oh, there's all kinds of numbers on there. Where the simpler one? We're gonna read off some numbers and maybe Minty Pricks can find her. She's model, oh, the camera's got poop on it. With her dog. Are you doing none of the truck cuddles? I love you too. You're the best dog in the whole world, but you stink. You smell like gear oil. You stun dog. Oh, you burp. Get out of here. Get. Stinky ass mutt. All right, I'm gonna wipe her off here. All right, have a gander here. Oh yeah, of course she's got the proprietary oil pan heater. This thing's losing oil from somewhere. I don't know. It's fine. All right, so she's model 17802N, and the number under that is KN22G1, and the other number under that is PO022591200010033. This starter, you guys gotta go find her at Rock Auto. This is the most honky-tonkinest starter these 7.3 Power Smokes can handle. Well, I don't know why the other truck started. I have no idea why it started up so nice. That's pretty for this fella, but this guy here, this is the ticket. This thing always fires up, and ever since I put that starter on it, it really fires up. And I'll show you. Look at that floppy cock fender, mint. All right, no glow plugs, no waiting for nothing. We're just gonna crank. You guys ready for this? Listen to how fast this 7.3 Power Smoke cranks over. I don't know why everything's starting so mint today, but you see the giant chooch cloud? That's usually what these trucks do. And you see how the amp gauge is buried? Now watch it. Have a gander at that. The glow plugs are still on and running. All right? And when she springs back up, that's when you know the glow plugs stop running. I don't know why they run after it's running. I'm gonna guess that has to do with emissions or some shit, but I usually like the high idler. Well, for being a little nicer to the old alternator. Now once it kicks off, that's how you know the glow plugs are done doing what they're doing. See? See how it just off back over here? That means that the old glow plugs are no longer drawing anything, and she's coming back. So this wait to start light is a hot pile of shit. It doesn't do a thing. Watch your amp gauge. We might as well redline the out of this thing. Look at those SPMs. now you guys know what a power smoke usually looks like after it fires up cold or fires up after sitting a while. This thing, it should be smoking like crazy, which it's not. All right, well, let's do a diagnosis on this thing to see what hole ain't shooting. So if you ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, let me show you fellers what I've done in the past. So what a guy will do is pretty much the exact same as a 350 Chevy or a 302 Ford or a 318 Dodge. You loosen up all the spark plug boots off the old distributor, and then one at a time you lift them up and it'll show you what cylinder's dying. On these, if the injector isn't pooping out oil or if it isn't buzzing, that means it's. So if it's pooping out oil, you're good to go. If it's not pooping out oil, it's not in. So I'll show you guys after blowing all this mouse and stuff off of here as to how to check the old injectors without buzz testing them. And then I'll show you how to buzz test them. Now the buzz testing thing, that took my hillbilly ass for a bit of a loop, because I used to use one program, now I use another program, and the old program used to work mint, but now they're Alright, so what I like to do before anything is I like to take this stuff here that causes California and cancer and just get rid of all this garbage. You don't need all this shit. Just a little bit of heat blanket junk. All that stuff loves to keep the heat off of stuff, but I mean that stuff doesn't even get that hot anyway. It's really good to breathe this in too. It's helps out with your lungs. So if you're lucky, it'll be this side that has a injector, and if you're not lucky, it'll be that side. But even this side's not that bad to work on. These old 7.3 Power Smokes. It ain't no 5.9 Cummins to work on, but it ain't that bad either. So let's get this guy apart. And for the love of sweet, merciful, don't get rammy with the dipstick. You get rammy with the dipstick, and that thing underneath starts to get all nuts and stunned, and next thing you know, it's leaking out the side of the oil pan. The 13-letter spreader company spends a long, hard pile of designing that disastrous dipstick tube thing. It's always leaking, always. And then to buy the replace for it is, well, I think there's a couple companies out there that actually make the delete kit for it, but it's a piece of shit. There's no amount of silicone that'll ever seal that piece of shit. All right, all the bolts are out. Now it's time to dump a bunch of dirt down inside the top end. All right, now hopefully the valve cover, let's see here. Oh yeah, all the chooch, all the blow by. All the dirt in there. So meow, hopefully we pulled off the right side, and now we're gonna fire it up, make a big old stinky mess, and show you minty pricks as to what the is going on with your injectors. These are the same as like a Cat Huey style. I'm pretty sure there's a couple other platforms that use these style injectors with these solenoids on top. Could be wrong. There's probably gonna be some minty prick in the comment. Willard's done and interrupting me, but there's probably some minty prick in the comment section like there always is that'll know way more than this cripple. All I can do is basically keep a truck alive. Keep her alive, keep her going down the road. That's pretty much what I'm good at. As far as doing things professionally, I mean, what is professional? So every injector here will have this little dingle off the side. And what that dingle does, that's a oil diverter thingy. So it basically shoots the oil down away from the injector. So if you got it running, there should be oil squirting out of each one of these injectors. So let's go fire it up and see what it does. Cripple can hook the glow plugs back up now that we're done proving that these trucks never fire up without using the glow plugs. Am I stunned? How stunned? All of it. All right, turn the key on. Amp gauge drop like a Hooters panties in front of a $20 bill. That means we got chooch on the plugs. And I'll just go ahead and grab my fancy pants ratchet here and fire it up. That lumpy idle back to her, I'll go grab the Bass Pro Shop Canada Fast Idle Stick, idle her back up, and then I'll show you the hillbilly way to check injectors. They also had this Fast Idle Stick on sale. Oh yeah. Just check out how that fits. Yeah. So what you can do to check injectors is pop out each hole, unplug the injector. So that made zero difference on that hole. Let's see what this one does. Hear the difference? Good guy. Big difference. poop. There's no poop over there. So this solenoid ain't firing. So the next thing you can do is grab one of these voltage testers and just make sure every hole's getting power. You see that's getting power? Getting power. Getting power. And getting power. So you know it's the problem with the injector itself instead of the power coming into it.
You sure about that?
Yeah, that injector's definitely not firing. But that's fine, we got a fix for that. So there's a couple things that can be. Obviously that injector ain't firing because it's not pooping out oil. You see how, well, kind of dry it is around there and how absolutely saturated it is around here? This looks like a midget's face after a dirty old bukkake. It's just sacked right out, right? So there's oil sprayed all over the place in here. And over here, not as much. So that injector isn't cycling oil through it. So there's two problems. Either the injector's itself, I've actually had it apart a bunch of times and tried to do shimming and all kinds of fiddle, but that was many moons ago. Now I just run injectors out of anything I can find laying around. But what you can do is, so it's either A, the body of the injector and the tips all up, or it's the solenoid. So what a cripple's gonna do is pull a solenoid off of a knowing good cylinder, put it onto that one, vice versa, and see if the problem follows it. So you can pull these injector solenoids apart right in the hole without taking the injector out. It's pretty easy. For the love of sweet though, don't drop the bolts down the engine or else you're gonna have to sleep with that at night. Wondering what the bouncing around inside your engine. It'll be fine, but don't worry about that extra noise you picked up. I don't think that engines should be this complicated. Like, they don't have to be. I don't know why. I think they went to this because this is some kind of a common rail, obviously. So I think they went to this for emissions or some, even though the 7.3 is just a debacle with the smoke. But yeah, this is complicated, like all the complications.
He now insists that I teach him to read. His enthusiasm reminds me of the schoolboy I once was. Are you ready?
Yes.
Consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic marsal veins, so fitted to the ambifacient lunar wane shaft
Oh, God.
that side fumbling was effectively prevented.
Enough! Do you want my head to explode? In the name of all that is good and decent, no more for today!
Dirty old P-pump, tits out of 10. VE pump, even better. And yes, I said VEs are better than the P-pumps. If you're making north of like all the horsepower, you're gonna want a P-pump, but the VE pumps, they start the best, they run the best, better on fuel, in my opinion. They're in. So go ahead and undo these 4 screws in each body and just pull the solenoids off the pricks. I had a video doing all the injector seals on these things at one time or another. I think it was on the nipple truck. I did all the injector seals because I couldn't afford new injectors, and lo and behold, it's fixed nothing. But at least the injector seals are new. Man, this old mill, she's a little wore out. I don't know if the oil is real thin from lack of maintenance. You start to lose the viscosity of your oil. You start to get a little bit more blow by, but this thing seems pretty sacked out. But I mean, what do you expect for a good deal at sale? That's the way she goes. All right, you got your solenoids loose. Unplug them. Pull this guy off, put her on here, and do her all back up, and see if the problem made its way up this side of the engine. If that's the case, that's a sore dick deal. You just can't beat it. All you gotta do is swap a solenoid out. If it's still, well, then that means that the whole injector's gotta come out, and that's the way she goes. All right, so about 10 years ago, what I had built was this badass cutout machine for a 7.3 Powerstroke diesel. It was for the newer style, with the single plug harness, what for it being a newer truck. And what I had did was I put 4 switches in a metal house box, like just for doing house wiring. I put 4 switches in there and then ran the wires through and then back, and then had it so on one end was the female end of the plug, the other end was the male end of the plug. Then they both ran up through the box and then back down into the injectors. And when the truck was idling, I could shut off each injector at a time to rule out what cylinder was without taking the valve cover off. So I thought it was pretty badass by doing that. I'm pretty sure there's guys out there that'll swap the dual plug harness dingles for the single plug because they're better for some reason. I don't know, but maybe you can let me know if you do or not. But the that little box thing I built works tits out of 10. So let's fire it back up and see if the injector that's moved ahead 1 cylinder. All right, let's see if it makes a difference. That makes a difference. That makes zero difference. For Fox straight. All right, so that's not an ideal scenario, being that, well, it needs a whole injector meow.
You sure about that?
But that just means I can show every one of you minty hair lips and half-wits how to pull injectors on these things, and that's the one to do on this side. So, man, but I gotta go grab one out of the backyard first. I do have a whole bin of these injectors laying around, but I don't remember where I put it. Off to the horde of minty pile. All right, so somebody's clearly stole the injectors out of that side.
Cripples!
But this side looks like they're still there, so that's good. All right, so this bolt here, it's ideal. Oh, look at the poop in there. Man, it's ideal not to take this guy off. This has got a couple of rubber O-rings in there, and they always get swelled up. So just take a box end wrench in here and do your best to finagle that bolt out of there, because yeah, that sucks. I did that when I was a kid, and it me. Man, I must have been drunk when I torched the turbo out of this thing. Like, I just literally torched it right off. It's fine. So as I didn't learn before, you just undo this bottom bolt here. Oh, it's not even that tight. I remember before they'd been a lot tighter.
That's what she said.
So now all you do is you flop them up out of the way, and then you can get your pry bar down in between the metal housing and that little plate dingle, and you're able to pry them out with hopefully without wrecking. I said hopefully. Oh, see? If you slip off, you could snap that cap off. Well, thankfully I didn't, but yeah, there you go. There is one Powerstroke injector. You know, believe it or not, a cripple likes to take Mrs. Peg into town once in a while for some good feed. Well, she's always telling me that something always smells like diesel or engine oil or gear oil, even though I have my monthly shower.
Hey, what is that? That god-awful smell.
Now you can clearly see as to why I smell like a dirty old engine block half the time. It's just the way she goes.
Way the road, buddy.
That's the smell of a handy-capable man. I'm just gonna lay that in the dirt while I grab another one, and then we'll go back in the shop. Pull the pipe off of her. So you don't have to do this the way I'm doing it, and there is more of a chance of dropping down into the engine, but less chance of breaking off the old sewer pipe, because you don't want that to happen either. And it takes 5 seconds to pull it out and a steady hand not to drop them. Give that thing the old pry bar over. Now you might as well take your glow plug wire off right now, because you're gonna need to do that anyway. So just lift up on your gasket a little. Since you're only doing one injector, you're not gonna pull the whole gasket out of her. Get underneath that guy, give her a little love, mint, and pull her out. So what that's gonna do is dump that whole fuel rail and engine oil rail into the combustion chamber. So that's a bad time, but I'll show you minty pricks how to fix that. Look at that guy. Oh, just listen to her. She's just sucking her all in. That's good for it. But that injector doesn't look bad. The O-rings look good. It's just no chooch anymore. I hope that's the problem. It doesn't sound like it's got a downed hole though. So you're gonna want to take a gander at your injector to make sure that they're the same firing injector. This is an AA injector, and this one is an AA injector. Good enough. There's probably some complicated thing where you're not supposed to run this, you're not supposed to run that, number 8 hole, number 5 hole, this, that, and the other, but I don't give a f. As long as it goes in the hole and makes black smoke, that's all this cripple gives a f about. You should probably replace all your O-rings, but we're not going to do that. And they look pretty good. Make sure your copper washer came out with the old one. Yeah, let's toss her back home. So you're saying pegging like it, there's all that diesel fuel and oil in there. Isn't it going to hydrolock and blow it up? Well, if you're stunned, yeah. I guess I'm pretty stunned, but don't worry, I got this. See all that oil just pooping up out of there? She's full. Injector hold down bolt. So this guy here, you're not going to want to just tighten every living out of it, because you're essentially hydrolocking that hole with the diesel and oil in there. As you get this started, tighten her down a wee bit, but that hole should be right full of diesel and oil. So basically it's like a teeter-totter system. When you tighten down the one side, the other side lifts up and the injector's in between the two, and then it just sandwiches the prick in there. Don't go crazy on that little bolt, because well, it's a little bolt. So meow, what you gotta do is you gotta get that glow plug out of there. Should come right out of there. Yep, grab the Leatherman again. Man, I use this thing more times than I use my bird for Fox Creek. Oh, all that dirt and stuff on the Leatherman, that's good to drop down in the hole. Just stick your glow plug over there. Now here's a little secret. And don't go sharing it on me.
And if you tell anyone, I will come to your house and I will cut you.
What you're gonna wanna do, take your valve cover and then just stick her back on there like so. If you're smart, what you'll do is you'll just take one bolt like so and stick it like that. Because I did this when I was a kid, and the fuel and the oil that came out of that hole was majestic. you dumbass. It fired everywhere. So yeah, just do something like this. If I couldn't start the bolt to save my crippled life. There we go. Do something like this, and it'll just divert the diesel and the oil back into the hole. Now, as far as cranking it over, meow, you don't want to bend that rod at any chance. So you just bump it over real slow like. Why is it no chooch? Oh. So you see that giant pile of shake it just did? Yeah, that's that fuel coming out of that hole. So let her wheel over a bit. You see it spraying diesel and oil everywhere? You're gonna want that. Man, so that hole is now cleaned out. Well, good enough anyway. There's not a giant gallon of in there. And now we can put the glow plug back in. Plug that guy back in. Alrighty, so meow, we're gonna fire it up, see if it's running on 8 cylinders. Low in gear hold, it's gonna work mint. So now the old girl's gonna have to crank for a while to refill that fuel rail full. Alright, well let's get the cranking on her. See what happens. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the poop pipe back on the injector, but don't tell on me, it'll be fine. Let's see if that hole's gone. Nothing yet. Go idler up. Alright, well that injector still is not firing. That ain't good. All right, well that injector still ain't firing. There's no injector poop coming out of that hole. It has power going to it. Now I wonder if there could be something wrong with the other side of the wire. Like maybe it's power and ground, because it's a basic solenoid. It needs power and ground. I don't get ground through its chassis. So maybe we'll put a new glow plug harness valve cover 500 dingle on it. And by new, I mean used out of the backyard, out of the scrap pile. That's what you gotta have. All right, well, we'll get rid of this guy. Watch this, we'll get rid of this guy and put the new one on, or the brand used one, and it'll have a misfire on a different hole. Don't pull on the wire for the glow plugs. It's a bad time. All right, pull this guy out of there. And I guess what we can do is ohm out the wires and see if that's the problem. So I've heard of guys like jamming nickels or something into these connectors, keep them from coming off, but I don't see how that would be a good idea. I'm not gonna throw random chunks of steel into the motor and hope nothing bad happens, because something bad gonna happen. Oh, I can see in there, and it's not good. See, you shouldn't have plastic inside of an engine. That's a bad time. Watch me stab my hand. Oh yeah, the plastic is brittle with this one. I'm gonna stab my hand right where my ridiculous burn is. Oh yeah, the wires in there piled right up. Well, there's our problem.
You sure about that?
Let's go grab the one out of that Ford and put her back together. Imagine that, the valve cover gaskets on a 7.3 Powerstroke up. Imagine my crippled surprise. I believe this is the second time today I did not follow the KISS acronym. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm pretty sure the simple thing would have been to do that wiring harness. But in my defense, it was getting power. There was power going there. I did check that, but I'm still stunned. Right, Witter Dog? We gotta stop hanging out so much. You're rubbing off on me. Make sure we drop all the dirt inside the engine, because that's what you don't want to do. Plug them back in here. They're all plugged in on the injectors and glow plugs. Mint, plugged on. Now let's fire it back up and see if we got 8 holes, meow. It did sound like it cracked hard and fired better before, but that could just be me being stunned. See what happens now. It better be firing now. Is that injector pooping? That injector is still not pooping. What in for Fox Street? Oh, I see. Yeah, that's probably not good. So there's a lot of, oh, that's not good going on with this old Ford. I reckon the dirty rats had a taste at my wiring harness here, and definitely ate. Why would they want to eat this? Does that look tasty to you guys at all? Doesn't look tasty to this cripple. So I'm gonna tie into that and see if I can't fix the wires. Man, so that injector harness was, and now some mouse chewed the wire. But I mean, it is in a good spot to get to, so you know, you gotta count the beer half not drank. You furry little Why would they want to eat my wiring? Well, at least they ate the wiring in the best place possible. Yeah, when you're working on wires like this, you don't have a whole lot of real estate. What for doing the old cut, twist, and solder. So what this cripple likes to do is you cut her off just so the shrapnel's gone, like so. Make sure that goes in the engine, that's good for it. Strip her back a wee bit. Do the same thing with the other side. Oh yeah, that went right in the engine, that's good for it. The oil filter loves this. Gives it a hearty meal once in a while, you know? And grab one of these naked butts.
He said butt.
And the proper pinchers. Dial her home in there. Make sure your shrink tube's on there already, because if you don't remember that, you're gonna have to cut it off again. Pinch her down, feed her some heat, and feed her some solder. All right, so everything's back together the way it should be. Let's go fire the key on and see if we got 8 holes. Meow. Oh, we're learning the hard way so far. Yeah! You see how it's pooping out oil onto the exhaust? That means she's firing. We're gonna do some dangerous. I was gonna try to put this on while it was running, but that would have been a real bad idea. My fingers hurt.
My fingers hurt.
Why do your fingers hurt? Because they just got stuck in the valve train, you stupid cripple. Now we'll put the old pooper valve back on there. Alright, that all sounds good. Idle and smooth as silk. Engage hole puncher past idle stick. Oh yeah, idling way smoother. Alright, well let's hear how that hole's running. We gotta give the rubber foot some action. This old girl runs so weak. Let's just see how she fires back up from in the cab. Oh, that shifter is stiff. That's what she said. Is there gears? Oh yeah. She runs good now. No stutter, no stumble. Let's see here. Let's see what she does. Chooch. Yeah, you see how it fired right back up? So I think there's a fart stuck in her somewhere. Running pretty mint. You don't need to worry about the oil being everywhere. Oh, the bald eagles and the freedom and the America is real in here. Burning my eyes. These old 7 trees, they have a distinct aroma that comes out of the chooch pipe. But there we go. We got 8 holes and we're using them all.
Got 8 cylinders and uses them all. Got overdrive, just won't stall.
This is a wonderful song. For me. Listen to the tune to it. Steel guitar.
Who sings this one again?
Tracy Bird, one of the Tracys. One of the Bifidus. All right, so we're back at her this morning, getting this thing all dialed in. So we got her all wired up back together. She's running mint. Took her down the driveway and back and got all the mud out of the wheels. Is that America right there?
That's America.
Right there.
Everything's America.
All right, so we got her back on the charger. So what's the most important part about a relationship other than the drinking and the pounding?
Oh.
Struck off. It'll get that on those big jobs. You didn't sweep good enough. It's over the mountain of dirt here.
Put a foot under this. I got steel toe. You just gotta jam that up. There you go.
That just means the bearings are good.
Yeah, we're just testing that.
So the relationship between a man and his woman requires conversation. You know, if she's pissed off that you're off with the old John Deere tractor after 15 beers.
Well, she might have took my car keys, but she forgot about my old John Deere.
Yeah.
Because she hid your keys.
Happens all the time.
Reminds a cripple of a country song. You know, and you gotta communicate with her. You want to, you get to wash your and ask for. These old trucks are no different. The only way to figure out what's wrong with them is by talking to it. So a 12 valve Cummins, you need a Leatherman and a flat screwdriver and a pressure gauge that goes from 0 to 60 psi, and you can figure out what's wrong with the piece of shit. These things are all dick electrical. Everything's fancy pants. It's basically a nightmare unless you know how to talk to it. What we're gonna do here is show you minty pricks how to talk to these 7.3s. Now, there's a bunch of diesel techs out there that use their fancy pants laptops and all the rest of that. But that costs a fella his good leg. So what I did over the years is I used to use a program called Car Gauge Pro. It used to work Mint, but now they changed it and it's just a hot pile of garbage now. So after a lot of finger banging of the old phone variety, I come up with a new scanner, and I think they use the exact same interface or whatever, but I'll show you minty pricks what's going on. So what you're gonna need is your phone. I'm an Android guy because I'm not a pretentious piece of shit. So I use the old Android. So the name of the program is called Forescan, like foreskin, but scan. So you get into her here, and I think the program was $11 freedom units. So $11 freedom units and a $20, whatever the f these things are called, off the old Scamazon. They're cheap and they work good. It's got lint in there from my pocket. So we got a red light going on there, so that's good. Oh, now the green light means she's communicating with the old pick-em-up truck. It's communicating with the phone to communicate with the pick-em-up truck. All right, so from here on out, we're gonna do a fancy pants screen recording and show you minty pricks how to do this without me rambling onto the camera. All right, so you wanna go with the build date of the truck and none of the that it has on the registration. So this old girl was built in December of 97. So she's technically a 98, I guess. Go 97. So in order to talk to the truck, you can do diagnostic trouble codes. And it'll tell you your diagnostic trouble code. So that's going to be important when you're on the side of the highway. It'll tell you what could be with the truck. But to talk to the truck, to make sure that you know what's going on. So the old lady's mad and she says, I'm fine. Well, that's what this is going to, it's kind of like you can hack into the old lady's brain and see what's, all the electrical is going to actually tell you what's wrong instead of you finding out the hard way. Because you're going to find out the hard way on the side of the road, and this is what's going to dial you in. So going through the list of all the we got cam position stat right here. And that'll tell you if your cam position's or not, instead of getting out and just changing it like everybody else does. We got coolant temperature sensor here. You can dial into that. Of course, it's in freedom units. We got the dirty old glow plug controller, so it'll tell you what your glow plugs are cycling at. We got the old PSI from the injection control pressure. IPR, this will tell you what your IPR is putting out. So as the truck requires more power, the IPR is an electric over oil solenoid. So what it does is it controls the amount of high pressure oil that goes through the system in order to give the injectors more pressure so they can out more fuel. So your accelerator pedal sensor, those also up in these trucks. It's not a bad idea to keep one of them behind the seat too. There's two sensors in these things. There's one contact sensor, and then there's the actual, it's kind of like a potentiometer. It's just a variable resistor that tells the computer how much voltage and how much fuel to give the truck. So it's good to have a good sweep on this. And you can build your own dashboard with this thing, but before we tell you any more of that, I'm going to keep my mind on task here, not try to see any squirrels. We got engine coolant temperature again. Here's your engine oil temperature sensor, your SPMs, your exhaust back pressure. So this truck has an exhaust back pressure sensor in it as well as a valve. So when they start up when they're cold, it'll actually pinch the exhaust off in order to build the heat faster. And last, you got your voltage supply. So it'll actually tell you how many volts that your alternator's putting out. And you know, if you had this thing dialed in and it starts to show a little low on the amp gauge, it'll actually tell you. So when you're going down the road, this should be making about 14.4 volts all the time. All right, so all these gauges basically is going to tell you every last bit as to what's going on with the engine. Going through this gauge section here, the dashboard, if one of these things isn't reading right, you know, chances are either the sensor that's going to it or the wires that are going to it. More than often, it's just a sensor or the wire going to it, like as you learned yesterday. So this program is tits out of 10. So this is the best one I could find, well, in Pakistan. You guys might have way mintier ones down in America. But this one here, you can actually do function tests. So you can go through the run test here, and it's going to give you a whole list of you can do with the truck. So the only one that I really use with this guy is the injector electrical self-test. So what an injector electrical self-test does is it'll buzz test all of your injectors. So what that's going to do, it's going to tell you that the fuel injection control module's mint, and it's going to tell you that the wiring going to the injectors are mint without pulling the valve cover off. But it's not going to tell you if the things are getting fuel or high pressure oil. So in order to do a injector buzz test, what you could do is you go into here, and then you hit play at the top here. And when you hit play, what the truck will do is it'll go through injector buzz test, and you can listen underneath the hood and it'll show you what injectors are firing. So all you do is you hit play on the test thing here. So it'll give you parameters as to what you got to be met. So you can't turn the key off, all the rest of that. The parking brake's probably in this thing, but you don't have to worry about that. Now you listen here. Seven, 8. So right there, what that's doing is it's firing. Oh, now it's going to show you all the faults, which is probably what for valve cover gasket wiring. This thing is struggling. It came out of the backyard, and the mouse made a gigantic meal out of the wiring in it, but it runs pretty good, so I'm going to say f it. But there you go. So now you can do an injector buzz test on your truck, and that's going to tell you if the electrical side of the injectors are still in. Now you got your key turned forward still, and everything's dialing in the way it should. So now, when you're driving down the highway and your truck dies, let's just say for whatever reason she dies on you, which these things do. So you go to your dashboard parameters. So you go to dashboard. So it's basically just a gigantic gauge cluster, right? You go to the top of the screen and you'll hit play. So now, I don't know what's up with these trucks. As you'll notice, the engine coolant temperature is both minus 40. Well, maybe it's because it's a Canadian truck. And then 384 degrees Fahrenheit. Both trucks have been doing this, so I don't know if it's a problem with the interface or what's going on. But everything else is going to work. So now what this system's going to do is your cam position sensor, instead of going and just pulling it out and sticking a new one in, it's telling you the state of it. So it is getting a good connection, so it's good. You got your glow plug control. Now when I cycle my key off and then on again, you guys will notice that the glow plug control will go to 100%. So now it's cycling the glow plug. So this is going to be in conjunction with your amp gauge. Sit there and watch that. So it'll show you that your glow plugs are actually doing their full cycle, or it's telling it to do a full cycle. So you can go ahead and wait for that, and it'll drop back down to 0 once the glow plugs stop running. And like I said before, watch your amp gauge. So it'll go to 100%, and you got, yeah, see now the glow plugs are done running. So your ICP, what that does is it tells you how much pressure is in the oil rails of the high pressure oil system for the thing to start. So for a 7.3 Power Smoke, they're supposed to have about 700 psi of oil pressure in the oil system before they'll fire. So what it does is it gets supply from the low pressure oil pump into the high pressure oil pump reservoir, and then from the high pressure oil pump reservoir it's just like a hydraulic system. The HPOP, or the high pressure oil pump, takes low pressure oil, knocks it up to, I think it's about 3,400 or 3,800 psi. I don't know the exact numbers. But what that does is it then pushes fluid on the back side of the injector through the diesel side, and then the diesel side, it will then compress the diesel and fire it in the hole. So this will tell you how much psi is in that system. So what we'll do is we'll just fire it up. All right, so you can see there, your ICP is working as it should. She's getting about 600 psi at idle, which is what you want. When you give her a BRAP, you'll notice the ICP will ramp up. So what the ICP is doing is it's telling the IPR to open up more, so the truck needs more oil pressure so it can fuel harder. So as you floor it, you'll notice the ICP jumps up, and so does the IPR. It won't jump up all the way because we're not on the road and we're not working the engine, we're just doing a free rev. But you can clearly see that both things are doing almost as they should. I don't know the exact numbers, like I said, but it is doing somewhat as it should. Now if the cam position sensor went, it'll tell you that. It obviously won't read any RPMs. And instead of trying to read the truck's mind, like trying to read the old lady's mind, this program will actually tell you what's, so you have a snowballing chance in hell of fixing the thing. So next here is your old diesel pedal. It'll tell you as to what the sweep is for your percentages for your fuel pedal. So the old rubber foot's just giving her all the way right now, and it's, I don't know why it's only going up to 60%, or it's about 80%. Now you could have a potentiometer in there. Your fuel pedal could be a little bent from all you minty pricks flooring the out of it. I don't really know, but this is going to give you a kind of a reference as to the sweep of your potentiometer in the pedal. So what you want to do is slowly press it, and it should slowly ramp up without any jagged spots in there. So a lot of these guys that had power smokes, they'd be driving around their fuel pedal, so the truck will just cut out, go to idle, and then they have fuel pedal again. Well, what's happening is there's a dirty spot in that potentiometer, kind of like an old dimmer switch in the old Acco Shack when you want to trim the lights down. You got that knob. Well, basically, you know, you got mood setting here, and you got all the lights on right here. So that's all that does, and it's going to tell you what your fuel pedal is doing. So this one looks like it's doing almost all of it. The floor of this thing, you really got to stand on it with your good foot, but that one's working good. So that's the next gauge I use. So that's got your engine oil temperature and freedom units there, so you can check engine oil temp while you're running down the highway if you like. This is your exhaust back pressure valve. That should be in PSI. I don't know why it's not in PSI, but that'll basically show you how many kPa or PSI is in the exhaust back pressure. So these trucks, what'll happen is they have that exhaust back pressure reference line, and sometimes that gets up and the truck will actually choke itself off going down the road, or not close when it's cold. So that'll be able to tell you as to what's going on with that. And at the end of the road here, we got your voltage, so you can check your voltage, and you want to keep good voltage going to these trucks because there's a lot of dick electrical stuff going on, and it needs all of it in order to run. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the Charlie Daniels of the torque wrench when it comes to these minty old power smokes. Over the years of trying to get these pieces of to run, I've always used this program or that Car Gauge Pro from before in order to communicate with the truck, because you can fire the parts cannon at this thing all day long and you're probably not going to fix it. Well, unless you do the IPR, the ICP, the cam position sensor, and then the high pressure oil pump. If you've done all of that and your injector seals are, well, you're still screwed. It still won't run. So this thing will actually tell you as to what's going on. And for the under $20 freedom unit investment, I reckon it's worth it. So now this system also has graphing, so you can do all your graphing on here. So you fire the old prick up. So now with it running, it'll give you a graph as to what's going on with everything. So your IPR, all that stuff. So what'll happen sometime with your IPR, your ICP, or your cam position sensor, it'll give you a, once in a while it'll up, so you can use this log as to figure out what the problem may be. So you can run this log while you're driving, and it'll show you what up at one time. So I've never used this function before, but it looks like it might work. All right, so what's going on, meow, is I went outside and I unplugged the ICP. So we'll go to the old dashboard here, and we'll hit play, and then we'll fire it up. I don't know why it's actually reading back pressure. It must be getting a reference from the IPR. So you can see how it's sitting at 725, and then before it was sitting quite a bit lower. But what I've been told, oh, now we got a check engine light on. So what I've been told is these things are designed so when those things f up, what it does is it goes to a factory preset position. It's a 700 PSI, so the thing will still start. So once you plug it back in, which I'll go and plug it in right now with you guys on the thing here. So now we'll shut the truck off, turn her back on. All right, so now you see the ICP's reading again. So all I did was I had to hit play on the quarter because I'm stunned. But now you fire it back up. So now that should dial back down to where it was before, which it does. I highly recommend that anybody that daily drives a 7.3 Power Smoke gets this program. In this hillbilly's eyes, I hate relying on other people. It sucks because everybody you try to rely on, even if you pay them good money, 11 times out of 10, they're gonna be fucking stunned. And they're just gonna try to soak you for everything you're worth and leave you sitting on the side of the road or tow you to some yard and give you 7,000 excuses as they can't get done as to what's supposed to get done. So with this program, yeah, like I said, it's worth nothing. Like you spend more on a pack of cigarettes that old Frostbakistan than you would for the little thing that plugs in there and this guy. So the next thing you want to do, if you're driving on the road in these trucks, there's going to be some sensors that up. It doesn't matter how new they are, doesn't matter where they came from. You like to buy Motorcraft or International because they allegedly they'd make the best, right? But sometimes that ain't the case. So what my crippled ass did over the years, and all my trucks in the yard that have a 7.3 Power Smoke in it, this is what I keep in the glove box. So this is more essential than a spare tire in this thing, because a dually is always carrying 2 spares on the back anyhow. You got a jack, you just pull out one of the outside dualies and just put her anywhere you want. So yeah, so this is your ICP. It's the Chinese one. Yeah, it's probably a hot piece of shit, but it'll get you home. You got an IPR. Yeah, it's a hot piece of shit probably. China's, but it'll probably get you home. And of course, the low and beer hold, the most important part of it all is the cam position sensor. These things go like crazy. So make sure you got all this glove box and the means to swap them out. So you should be carrying tools on you all the time, and a chainsaw, a spare case of beer, all kinds of in the back. So don't be stunned. Make sure you're carrying enough tools to change the out.
You put a whole new shine on the word overkill.
When you need it and don't have it, you sing a different tune.
So, and in this program here, it'll tell you everything to with the truck, so you can then swap it out on the side of the road and still get home in time to put the old lady's head through the trailer door. Yeah, if you're daily driving it, keep this on you. Hashtag struggling. Look at this door. This truck is just thundered. The door still, I can't believe it still latches. Like, look, you can see the latch from the back side for Fox Creek. Still closes better than any Dodge door. Man, another gigantic problem with these trucks seems to be the door handles. And a better man than myself once said, the most important part of an automobile is the nut that holds the wheel. Oh, there we go. So, where the Mongoloid meets the truck, you got the famous broke off door handle. Every Ford I've ever had, or that I bought, had a busted off door handle. Now, this system doesn't work like you think it would. All it is a spring and a latch, and the latch is adjusted to the striker, and the striker closes on the door, and all this thing does is pull on it a little bit. Ripping on this handle does three things. It f***s up the tin of the door, it breaks off the handle, and it means you're stunned. All you do for these handles, I can't get over it. I've met a pile of people that just keep ripping the door handles off their trucks. So what I recommend to them is they go take a long walk off a short pier. But all you got to do, take the door panel off, stick a little bit of oil in here, and bend these tabs back just a little bit. All right, so what that's going to do is it's going to allow this thing to work better. When you pull on the handle, it just puts a shorter throw on that latch mechanism, which allows the door to pop open easier. It's that easy. You don't have to install a 5/8 piece of ready rod here and a 4-foot snipe on it. Just stop being stunned. So if you are stunned and bad things have happened, you can weld them. It kind of works, but what a guy's done in the past, if the door's not completely mangled, is you take this thing apart and you put big old fancy pants fender washers behind, and it keeps the door from ripping off. Adjust this guy, add a little bit of oil, and these things open like silk every time, but people are stunned and they just rip on them all day long. It's a plastic handle. If you get an Early's 88 and older, I think, they got the chrome honky tonkin handles. You can add them in there too, but you don't need it. This works just fine. Just don't be stunned. Oh, this old girl's in hard shape. Just thundered. So I pretty much brought all you minty pricks through all the diagnostic that I know how to do on these old trucks. So the thing to remember is that when iron gets old, well, it's pretty much fine because it's iron. But when plastic gets old, sensors get old, all of that gets old, it's just gonna fail. It doesn't matter if you buy a brand new or whatever, the quality and just ain't there nowadays. Going back to fixing it yourself, if you're gonna buy one of these old trucks, do not, for the love of think you can just get in it every day and drive it. It doesn't matter how much you replace, it's always gonna throw you a curveball. Like I said before, the most important part of these automobiles is the nut that holds the wheel. So if you're buying one of these things just so you could take Instagram selfies and be stunned, well, you better be really good at shucking some guy's corn or have a real good idea as to what's going on with this thing. I learned how to wrench on this thing over years of owning them, and then the internet came out and there was mint guys like Powerstrokehelp.com, God rest his soul, that guy was minty as he taught me a bunch of shit on these trucks. He said don't spray ether in them, but these things love ether. You just hose them with it and they always start. That guy helped me out a lot. There's this minty prick, Stephen Cox was the feller's name. He taught me a lot on these old power smokes. Him and I actually both back and forth. He's from down in Texas. So with the internet out there, cheap tools from old Hazardous Fart or Princess Auto and Ukrainian Brake and Wheel, you can get these things to go down the road no problem. Don't buy it and expect it just to drive. That's the worst thing you can do. And then once you learn how to work on one of these, once you learn how to communicate with it, you know, like a good relationship, once you get to talking to her, you can see what's up and you might be able to fix it somehow. All right, well, going back, I just was reminded here, I seen this godforsaken switch right there. So these things are a hot piece of shit when it comes to what's on the other end of them. The fuel tank selector valve, what'll happen sometimes is the fuel tank selector valve fuse will blow and it goes into some shuttled neutral position, so it just starts sucking air and it'll leave you on the side of the road as well. So this truck, when I bought it, it did exactly that. I haven't been under here in a while. Oh, there's hoses and wires and everywhere. So you'll see what I did here. This was on the side of the road. on the way back from Richie Bros. It's a fuel tank selector valve, left me on the side of the road. It was like -30 outside for Fox Creek, and that's a communist. So all you do, if this thing you over on the side of the road and you got to get her home, carry some 5/16 metal fuel line, and you just connect the return and the supply from one tank or the other, presumably whatever one has more fuel in it, into your supply lines to your engine. You can run a brand new one of these things, and in 15 miles they're going to end up screwing you, because that's what they do. They're just a hot plastic pile of shit. Anything plastic is dog. I've done actually a whole video on the fuel tank selector valve delete for these old Fords. That means she's on the rear. All right, so I just dialed together that little schematic. It looks like a couple of dicks, but no big deal. Of course, I did some hillbilly design, but it doesn't fail. The hillbilly behind the wheel can actually change his tanks manually instead of having this thing. All right, well, before I kick this hot piece of shit out of here, I'm going to change the oil on it. So what I run for oil in these hot pieces of shit is in the summertime, I run 15W40 with a bunch of Lucas in it, because these things are winded pieces of shit. As you seen earlier, all the smoke and blow by it had before. So I'm going to show you guys. I'll put half gallon of Lucas in this thing, fresh 1540, and I bet half my good leg that the thing's going to have half the blow by that I had before. So I'll show you. Do you see the fog of blow by she's got? Blow by like crazy. Oh, the chute. Usually you just put that guy over like that and have that side plugged off. If it doesn't just kick it off immediately, chances are the mill's not that bad. So I'll show you guys another trick with the high pressure oil on these things. So allegedly, is what I've been told, is that this high pressure oil reservoir, the system doesn't really circulate for. So what guys will do is they'll suck the oil out of the high pressure oil reservoir, and then through this little hole right here, they'll suck the oil out of it and then replace it with new stuff, start it, suck the oil out, replace it with new stuff, start it, and they'll do that 2 or 3 times to get fresh oil in the injectors. Another thing guys will do, and I've never actually done it myself, is I think AMS oil sells a friction modifier for these injectors as well. I've never done it, but I've heard real good things. I don't know, maybe you guys in the talker have done it, and maybe your trucks ran mintier, but apparently that's the ticket. I don't know. I wonder how many drain bungs this thing's gone through. How many foot-pounds of torque? All of it. I'll sell you some oil Burton property. I'll sell it to you by the clump.
Oh, Willer would love a mud stick.
Oh, it's a mud stick.
It's a mud stick. You can throw them and then you can eat them.
All right, usually I change the filter after I drain the oil, but I gotta make sure that I actually have a filter for this piece of shit. I think I got the right one. I love how Princess Auto doesn't give us a dime, but we still give them like 100 shout outs a video. Well, she's got a Napa oil filter on it. It ain't no Fram. I think Napa is Wix, I think. But I could be wrong. I should have punched a hole in the bottom of that. That would have been a lot smarter, but... Oh no, I didn't want to punch a hole in it because I wanted to make sure I had the right one. I forgot. You don't need to worry about short-term memory loss and being stunned. I mean, what is stunned? Willard is definitely stunned. He's a stunned dog. But he's also a good dog. One might say he's the Willardest of dogs. He stuns hard, but he loves hard, you know? Oh, well, I guess we had the right oil filter. Oh yeah, there's no coolant on the bottom of the oil. That's good. But if you started getting coolant in your oil in your coolant and all kinds of fiddle going in between where it shouldn't be going, you probably got some injector cup issues, and that's a bad time. I'll just do this to show all you minty pricks. You take a 3/16 socket and try not to round this thing out. There's a bunch of different plugs for different sizes, but I think this one, it should be metric you'd think, but it ain't. Or the standard fits better. America. So you take that guy out. Now what you're not going to want to do is start this thing with this plug out, because that reservoir has all the piss eye in it, and you'll do a real good job of undercoating your hood with the oil. All right, so once you got that bung removed, I got some 3/8 thin flex here. Slide her all the way till she's damn near to the basement there, far in as she'll go, balls deep, and just extract that oil out of there. Oh, looks like me after Taco Bell. Just everywhere. You can either refill that, you can refill the reservoir through this hole with a small funnel, or you can just crank the engine until it fires back up and that'll refill the reservoir. All right, so as far as oil in this old girl, I used to think that all this was a gimmick, as long as you could use a good engine oil. That's pretty much the best thing you can do. But the selling feature of Lucas for this old cripple is when I bought my old 1979 Construction King backhoe, otherwise known as Big Dick, the blow-by was so bad that you could barely see through the windshield when you were driving around the yard trying to do work. So I was told to put some Lucas in it and it'll probably fix it. Well, I ended up doing an oil change. I used a gallon jug. I think it took about, I think it was a 4 or 5 gallon system, something like that. And I put a whole jug of this in there with it and then just topped her up till she was full. And the backhoe would have 150 hours on it with all for blow by. It was crazy. So now everything gets Lucas. This takes a while to pour, so you might want to just put it in there and go have chips pop in a bar and come back. So this is about 2/3 of a gallon. She's gonna love it. Not so good for cold starts if you're running it for 1542, because it's thicker than my high school girlfriend's. The simps?
Yeah, I love it when the simps get in there, but then people are like ripping on the simps. That's
Oh man, there's nothing worse than a simp. Truck simp. A mechanic, a guy that works his whole life pulling wrenches on people's trucks and learning all the skills. And some chick's like, oh, you want a little piece of that? And he's like, oh yeah. And he goes up and he works on her truck, does everything, goes over the whole truck, new wheel bearings, new diffs, new everything. And she's like, oh, thank you. And drives off into the sunset. Remember Beavis and Butthead with the spare tire?
Could you guys maybe, like, help us out?
Yeah, we'll take you for a ride.
Look at the score! Looks like you got a flat here, ma'am.
Yeah, I know. Could you guys fix it?
Thanks, guys.
You guys are never gonna get any.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's called the truck simp. And she wants you, oh, can you please fix it? No, you can fix it. That's simping. She better be giving you a even before you twist one wrench. I learned that when I was a kid, man. This stupid sacked out stole my header off of, I found a header at the dump and I brought it in a mechanics class and she stole it from me. Her name was Emily. And I caught her with the header. I'm like, you stole my header, but just some dump header.
But that's your
and
header.
then she's like, oh, you know, can I have it? And she was trying to get all sexy. I'm like, you, that's my dump header.
Man, you figured it out faster than all.
Wow, you know, we all have our moments of weakness. When the wrong head's calling the shots, bad things happen. Yeah. All right, so she's gonna crank for a while. What for the oil not being in the reservoir? Not as long as you figure though. Come on, oil pressure. Man. All right, brand new oil. Let's see how the blow by is doing now. Way less. The engine isn't hot yet, the oil's not hot yet, but it's definitely better. All right, so to check the fuel pressure on these old girls, your lift pressure from your tank, you can take a air straighter valve and you just stick her onto here. It'll actually give you your PSI. So she's making about, oh, that's good for it. She's making about 55 or 60 PSI for lift pressure. That's pretty good. Look at how gross that diesel looks. That's old. A little bit of rust proofing there. Oh yeah, I loved it. It's hot now, and the blow by is about half of what it was. So that's pretty good. So that's about what every 7.3 I've ever had that ran and drove down the road with reasonable power has about how much blow by. Well, you want to go drive the of this thing?
We could probably go smash around this thing a little bit.
Well, we gotta go to the dump first, bring a bunch of garbage there, and then go pick up the brand new burnout pad.
Man, I love dump.
The burnout pad is gonna be heavy. Yeah, you almost died, but we need this. This is a proper burnout pad. So a lot of people will say, you know, Peg, like, and how do you get concrete out here? Is it expensive to get? Well, there's two different kinds of concrete. There's the stuff that you pour, and then there's the stuff that you get that's already poured from the dump. Do a better job at that. Mouth! Look at the dust. Look, I'm trying to keep a reputable operation around here. You're getting dust on my custom show model Ford here. Oh, I just shammied it all off earlier, and look at, you're wrecking it. Oh, look at the dust. You know how much money I paid for this paint job?
Right there? That spot? Or that spot? Or else I'm gonna post everything I know about you right to the zip ties page on my channel.
Man, are you gonna post everything on there, even our dirty pictures?
No.
What about the ones we did together on our OnlyFans page for only $9.99 a month?
Oh,
yeah.
That's $12.99 to get the platinum content, but we throw Willard in there.
Man, I could do an OnlyFans page for pedal pumping, and I'd probably make a few bucks.
A couple $100.
They're like, oh no, put mayonnaise and eggs all over your rubber foot and pump. It's like, all right, bud, we gotta draw the line somewhere, but I mean, money's money. And you're talking to a guy that used to be an owner-operator of a sheet of plywood in the gas station parking lot for years. I mean, if you're good at your job, you don't even have to pack a lunch. All right, let's go to the dump. Truck. Oh, he wants truck. You stupid stick. No, Willard still did a window delete on it. He was pretty excited though.
Damn it, Willard.
He's good. Ready? Yep. Okay, Willard. Okay. Okay, Willard. Okay, Willard. Willard, okay. Willard, okay. Oh, you gone. Man. Where you go? Get in the truck. Get in the truck. Bat. Get in the bat.
Good with you.
You bad dog. Oh, there's a deer antler on it.
Deer antler on top. That's looking somebody's sidewalk.
Yeah, I know. It's a burnout pad now. Man, we're getting uppity in the world. We went from wood to concrete.
What is it?
Well, he's like a keg of dynamite. Ready?
What is it, little dog?
Okay. I think this is going to be the ticket for the burnout pad right here. Check out that brand new burnout pad. Look at that thing. What a treat. Alright, I wanted to bury it a little deeper so when snowplow season comes around and this thing's still under there, if I hit this with the skid steer when it's frozen to the ground, I'll go through the window again. That's a mint burnout pad.
You'll pay a lot of money for something like that in your yard.
Oh yeah. Some people do like patio stones and stuff. We do burnout pads.
Backyard swimming pool.
No.
Backyard burnout pad.
Yeah. Now it's segmented. Now it's a better burnout pad.
Exactly. Now it's independent suspension burnout pad.
Yeah. I think that old dually's gonna need a little bit of handicap accessible burnout though, what for being 9,000 pounds on the back. Oh, it doesn't even shift. Yeah, the burnout pad works. Maybe the Terry Fox burnout, but it's still pretty good. Well, as if the dump couldn't provide any more, we got this. We're at the dump, giving her all away, and lo and behold, a fast idle stick holder. Look at that. I had to screw this piece of metal on there to make her a double, and my right-legged man had to use his right leg to kick that extra shelf out, but just for the shop, it's just really nice. All right, well now we gotta go durability test the shit of this new Ford here, or new used. We're gonna go durability test it. You ready? I think been sitting, well, since before I moved to Rosedale. But this thing's a lethargic piece of shit, so it needs a programmer in the worst way. Right to the mat. The real question is though, how does she ditch bag? Yeah. Hitting her. She's just a powerhouse. Four-wheel drive work? Oh yeah. Yeah. We gonna go durability test the tires now? Brand new burnout pad. Straight up out of the dump. What a treat. It's not even wood this time. All right, we'll see what she's got. Can you light her up?
I'll see what I can do.
For a burnout? I gotta go get a fast idle stick. All right, now we can do a burnout. Fast idle stick engaged.
Yeah, like Flame's golfing at the roof with the
Door, it was golfing. There was nothing I could do.
It wasn't me. It was the fast idle stick. Still on fire? Oh yeah, those burnt me in. And the burnout pad works good. But that wasn't me, that was the fast idle stick.
Okay.
I was outside of the truck, the fast idle stick up the wheel. But she didn't burn down. The mud flap's still good. The tires, I mean, they were barely even brand new before we started this. But I think the DOT date was out and I don't run nothing but the best.
You sure about that?
It's all durability tested now. Oh yeah. It is running smoother. I heard a piece of carbon fall off the valve. Man, just listen to her. This could have good put her hard. Oh yeah. Didn't even heat up or nothing. All right, well, we were just checking her out a little more since we went and durability tested it. So we fired it up and I had to see if the synthetic winter worked. Look at it. That's spinning. It's got charge in the AC system. Ice cold, man. The synthetic winter works.
Oh, it is. Not definitely AC.
Yeah, like it's getting colder too.
Hey, that's nice AC work.
Honky tonkin'. Now it's really giving her. So this is the smoothest idle in 7.3. You like that stink? Want to go redline it, buddy? Want to go redline it for everybody?
Yeah.
We'll redline it. Where are you, the Birdie Billy?
Birdie Billy.
Birdie Billy? Get in there, redline this thing. Just mat it. Love it. You like that? Oh yeah, right the turbo go. Good job, buddy. Look now a smooth shot. Yeah, you like that? The AC works, bud. Birdie Billy, guess what? Daddy made us vegan steaks tonight. We're having vegan steaks. Are you excited about that?
Winter's excited.
Winter's excited. Yeah, we're going vegan. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah.
It's vegan?
No, that's pretty much vegan.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's all vegan. Winter just ran me over.
That's tofu crop.
This meat was vegan fed before we ate it. So we're basically eating grass.
Yeah, I don't think they ate any. That'll happen.
That'll happen. That's truck driving. Oh, you got a shipping crate on. You got wiring problems? Does my shirt offend you? You should have seen the looks I got in town there the day before yesterday. Where did we go to town? Yesterday?
Yesterday we were in town.
Yeah, yesterday.
Town sucks.
I got a lot of RCFs.
Oh, that'll happen, eh?
Man, these look disgusting.
Man, I'm glad they're vegan. I hate them.
Man. Oh yeah, I forgot. Winter's a vegan now. You don't eat sticks.
Oh, yeah.
He's stick dog. He's sticks. Willer dog. Are you the best dog in the whole world? He's a stunnest dog, I know that. There's even a sticker that says it. That's how you know your name brand's done, buddy. You know that somebody bought like 1,000-year stickers, just one guy? That's how you know you're oldest done, buddy. How dare you? Check out this sassy old rig. Man, is she ever a sweetheart. I can't believe this thing was just growing in the backyard. I mean, you plant fern seeds and these things just grow. It's the way she goes. Isn't that right with a dog? You're lucky that it's empty. You're a bad dog. You just don't beat on the old, well, you can beat on the old Power Smokes, but you just don't beat them. Well, the 12 valves are a little bit better, but I love these old things. Just a treat. So much electronical stuff though. Makes a fella's brain hurt. Oh, Willer, get in there. Get in the truck. Is the fast idle stick in the way? Oh. There, get in the truck. There you go. It smells pretty good in here. No farting or burping. You burped in my face earlier. You almost made me puke. What did you eat? Was it a fart burp because you ate a bunch of turds off the ground? It was a fart burp, wasn't it? Just stunned. Look at this truck. I love 4 doors. And look at the handle's all metal because someone broke it off. Imagine that. Imagine my surprise with her dog. A welder that broke the door handle off. Well, I had no idea that this video was going to be a 2-hour production. Look at the view out of this windshield. Like, just look at that. You guys need that. Just saying. I can hear things gurgling, Willard. You're gonna fart in here, aren't you? So ever since I was a young lad, I always, I grew up before the internet, and if you ever needed to get something fixed, what you had to do was if it still ran, you had to get into it, go to the liquor store, buy a 12-pack of beer, go to your friend's dad's house, and see if he'd show you how to fix stuff. So the reason I made this video was for a few reasons. The first reason is all you young guys that have these power smokes, all you older guys that have these power smokes, and you guys are trying to get into these trucks and run them down the road and daily drive them, just because they're new and just because they're shiny, or just because they're new looking and just because they're shiny, don't mean. So these old trucks, they are loyal, they are reliable, but like I said before, the most important part of an automobile is the nut that holds the wheel. If you can use the 7 P's of proper previous planning, preventing piss poor performance, and adding a little bit of tools and some parts in the glove box, you can keep these trucks going down the road and just keep it a mint. You guys got to keep this old pricks alive. Yeah, I beat the tire out of this thing, but I do have plans for it. I'm actually going to fix the body up mint, make her look all sassy pants, and well, this is going to answer one of the questions that one of the minty pricks has. One of the Patreons asked what a feller does for work. Well, I may or may not buy, and I may or may not sell a couple things here and there. So this truck is definitely going to get fixed up. I'm going to go over the whole thing, do diff oils, make sure the tone ring's good, fix the body up really mint, spray her all down, make her look fancy pants, and sell her off, because I don't know how many of these trucks I need. I don't even know how many of these trucks I got, but this truck would be a good welding truck for somebody that, yeah, I durability tested it, but these trucks can handle it. I beat the ever-living tar out of my daily driver, and these things are just tough. Well, and the second reason why I made this sassy pants production was that truck house life guy. So I don't know if you guys are into that kind of content. The fella just gets into his truck, into his camper, he tours around, he goes and sees the coolest places and meets the mintiest people, has some minty food and drinks some beers. And the guy, I talked to him on the old Instagram, and he is the most genuine mintiest feller you ever did talk to. He's 10 out of 10. He's from up in Alaska somewhere. I don't actually know where he's from up in Alaska, but it seems like everything north of Old Frost, Pakistan is pretty 10 out of 10. The guy's awesome, his trucks are awesome, his lady is 10 out of 10. She's just a sweetheart. So he just drive around in that power smoke. So I seen the minty prick struggling in a few of his videos, and it was tugging at the old ticker string, seeing the light that this guy has. He's got like this get up and go that's just unbeatable. And then to see the light get dimmed out by his brand used power smoke, absolutely giving it to him government styles. Yeah, it was, I was like, you know what? There's probably a lot of guys out there that have a lot of these trucks, and they're screwing them around. Not everybody has an auto wrecker at their disposal, so I figured I'd show you the junk and garbage that I've learned over the years to keep this derelict garbage on the road, because they're getting older. And in my eyes, they're irreplaceable. New trucks, and I have some experience with new trucks, and they're giant piles of engineered obsolescence on wheels. They're the kind of trucks that when you buy them, they're supposed to last to the end of warranty, and that's it. So the more of these trucks that I can see going down the road and having the old feeling that I helped out with keeping them on the road, it just makes a feller feel good. Alrighty, well, Tim, Truck House Life feller, I appreciate the inspiration by your dirty derelict truck by letting you down on the side of the road. And yeah, thanks a lot, buddy. You're a minty feller, and keep on chooching down the road. America. Oh, and if you're ever in these parts of the woods and you need a hand wrenching on your truck, well, I might have a part or two. You can throw a stick for Willard. You can throw a stick. There's no sticks in here. Well, I guess the seatbelt could be a stick. Everything's a stick in Willard Dogland. Alright, well, enough mouth breathing and mongoloiding. I gotta give credit where credit's due once again. All the minty Patreons that are keeping the lights on, the Willard is stunning, and my freedom of speech paid for. And those fellers are these fellers. Alright, well, we got the 10 buckers. We got Uncle Junk, Kevin Albers, Brewster, Eric, Sam Tierman, Big Ape, Kim Parsons. We got Bobby Wright, Aiden Rogers, and we got Willard Dog Rule 34. Well, Willard doesn't live by rules. He lives life one stick at a time and truck ride. We got Jesus Geist, or is that Jesus? I don't know. Is that a Mexican feller? We got Jacob Reif and Cameron Rougeau, another Frenchman. I've learned the hard way that not all French people are stunned. Sawed-off Frenchman's still short and he stinks though. Alright, well, we got the 1202er, the Ken Franklin, Dakota Spanny, and we got Fagger Nigget 12V. You're bordering on the non-PC-ness. Or that's probably just a spelling mistake, really. And then we got the Crank Bearing Slayer 1776. What a treat. But, I mean, why even have crank bearings if you're not going to slay them once in a while? They're designed to do that. Alright, well, we got the 15 buckers at Moist 180, Wyatt Golaher, Dixon Cider, yeah, buddy, Ham Slammin' Hank, with a name like that. I mean, he's just going to be in porn films for sure. And then on Jerry Springer. We got Ethan Walt and Big Dad Ethan. Alright, well, we got the Nightmare 6.4 liter, 1776, and buddy, what 6.4 liter ain't a bit of a nightmare? They rip. They're a lot like the double fillet of fish. They're around for a limited time only, and they give her all the way, but man, do they ever cost you in the long run. And then we got Luke Bedard at 20 beans. All right, much like always, I don't understand why, but I appreciate every little out of it. There's a bunch of minty pricks that have been around here a while and seen fit to give my fat crippled ass a raise. Or maybe just want a shout out. I don't know what it is, but I appreciate the of it, fellers. We got Big Hoss, David Keys, Traden Adams, Ethan, Justin Mans, Candon Billy 1776, Sloth 4298, Zach Schlosser, Zach Benko, Josh Tice, Ross Richards, Teddy Sprinkles, Limp Dick Mechanic. I think you gave me a raise last time, buddy. I appreciate it. And I told you there's pills for that Limp Dick. We got Vacay Opper, Medix Insider, buddy. Man, I love to play words. I always love it when I read one, and then I only understand it once I read it. It's always a treat. We got Struggling 7.3, Hauser Bush, Tyler Lawhead, Chode 7.3, Cascor Manoa, Donnie Bra, and Ricky Johnson. Oh yeah, and Ricky Johnson, we forgot you last time, but we're dialing you in. I called Kevin there the night before last, and he was face drunk, so if there's anybody that got missed, it's his fault. No accountability. All right, well, the last video on the old Patreon, we put up a post there asking fellers if they had any questions for my crippled ass, and yeah, so we put it up there, and I'm gonna answer a few more of those. It was actually pretty fun to answer them. All right, so we got Robert G. Hubbard says, what do you do with your old legs? Asking for a friend. All right, bud, so much like my old Furds, I literally have a pile of old legs. There's a bin at the bottom of this shelf. So I just left for the city to go get a new leg, because this one's a wore out pile of shit. And, well, they didn't come through for a feller, so I ordered off Scamazon a bunch of round stock here to make up some parts for my leg, because there's a bunch of bearings in there, and they're wore right out. So I got some aluminum and some brass here. I'm just gonna make some new bushings up for it, and hopefully a new leg comes when it does. But all the old ones, they go in the back of the shop, and I use them for parts. I used to work a really heavy job in the oil patch when I first started, and I'd snap these things off all the time. I'd have to strap wrenches and duct tape to it to get through the day. So my boot was all sideways, and everybody thought I had a real leg still. My foot was broken, but I was still working on it. Yeah, these things break and screw up all the time, so I'm always getting them dialed back in with either parts legs or new legs from the city. Oh, Willer Dog left. No, you're not getting back in. No, and there's no sticks. All right, we got Dank Master Otis. It says, do you have a mullet or a mustache? Buddy, I got a beard and a serious case of the 5 heads. So a lot of people have 4 heads. Well, I got a 5 head. My hair's falling out and migrating south. I got a bush like a 40-year-old Serbian. Well, I used to have a mullet. I rocked the hell out of a mullet, but it's gone. Its days have come and gone. Yeah, and I don't think a skullet's the way to go. I already look like a greasy hillbilly as is, but I don't think I'd be able to drop my son off at school if I showed up with a skullet. Man, a windowless van and a skullet is not a good recipe for hanging out by the school. Wisconsin bear hunter, what a treat. He says, would you ever get back into mud bogging? The video you made going to the mud bogs more recently was one of my favorite ones so far. I'm currently building an 85 Yoda pickup that my dad used to off-road. Buddy, that's awesome. Bag the shit out of that thing. Is it a 22R? Those things are just a treat. And yeah, I would like to get more into the mud bogs. I guess out in Valley View there where the Ferd Farm is, they're supposed to have some hillbilly mud bog that's actually a mud bog. All of the mud bogs around here now are these mud drag racing things, so it's anybody that has the biggest credit card is one's winning it, and it just sucks because they just drive through a puddle and they floor it, and then that's it, and it's hot dog. I love the mud bogs where you get in there and you got to hold her wide for like 5 minutes and blow your truck up or make it out of the end of the hole maybe. That's what I like, and they don't offer that around here anymore, and it sucks ass. King Cal, with a picture of a 79 Ford on Sassy Pants tires as his profile picture, says, old peg, changed my mind. 79 dent side Fords are the best trucks ever made. Buddy, I love those trucks. They give me goosebumps. I grew up in one of those trucks, cranking Alan Jackson, drinking beers, shooting guns. I absolutely love these trucks. Lotus Campbell asked this cripple, he says, what's the story behind Rhonda? Would love to hear more about the history behind your minty. Well, Rhonda, I bought her for 2 cases of Keystone Light 12 years ago, and it was in absolute mint condition. And after many, many miles of alcohol abuse and mud bogs and ripping through the bush and giving her all the way, she's definitely a little worse for wear, like the guy riding her. But she still runs, she still drives, and that's what's going on. John Ramusen says, how many clicks away from Indiana are you, Peg? Well, let me Google that for you, bud. How many miles am I from Indiana?
The drive from Indiana to your location is 2,108.6 miles.
So just like a hop, skip, and a jump, really, bud. All right, well, that's the end of the old Q&A. I appreciate all you minty pricks for asking. There was a little more questions, so if any of you guys got any more questions, dial her into the old talker for the Patreon here on this video that's going to be dropping, and I'll get to her next time. All right, well, much like always, I appreciate every one of you minty hair lips and half-wits for watching this video all the way to the end. And until next time, oh, it's a Zin stick. I thought it was a ball stick. You guys keep out your ass. All right, I'll throw it. You want to get this stick? Go get the stick. Man, he's stunned.